So last I spoke, I was trying to mend some of my chakras, and a side effect of mending the chakras happened with my diet doing a 180 and forcing me, literally forcing me to become a carnivore, because what I was doing was my entire life I wasn't allowed to be myself. I was abused, I was forced into silence. I forgot who I was, and even when I remembered what and who I was, I had immense difficulty becoming myself again. And so I was working on that, and you know, my animal form is a rhygison. If you don't know what that is, you can look that up. Actually, well, you can't look it up just anywhere, but I have because it's an olden tongue that I'm using, but I have a video on what that is. So basically it is in a nutshell, it is a protector, and the way that it protects is by hunting and consuming things of ill intent, evil things. So basically, you know, through this, I was trying to connect more with that side of me, and the emotional aspect of as well, and embracing that and not being afraid of it, and instead and not shunning it, just embracing it. And through that really dense chakra work, I remember going to bed some nights after doing that, waking up, feeling, you know, having my hand next to my head or something, and realizing that my palms smell like a dog's paw, like a wolf's paw. And that is, you know, something that I couldn't explain, because I have no dogs. I've not been around any dogs. I've definitely not been around any wolves. When I was working on the masculinity side of it, because my soul is masculine, I really try to tap into that. I would wake up and I would realize that ever so slightly, my physical self looks a little bit more masculine. You know, so I could see physical changes, but never expected it to be so immense that, you know, I was literally forced into a carnivorous diet. I wasn't ready for that. A couple of years ago, I was told that I needed to eat a lot. And I didn't want to, because I knew I'd gain a lot of weight, and I did a ton of weight. But had I not done that, this entire year, I needed to survive off of that extra weight, and I've lost a lot. I'm still kind of chubby, but I've lost a lot of it, and I may need to keep the rest of it for later. Honestly, I don't think that this is completely over. Yes, it's getting better. Yes, you know, but there's still supply chain issues. The only reason why I think it's getting better is because, you know, in spring and summer it was getting too hot and sweaty, and it was going bad on the lorries. About 48 hours is all you've got before you run out of refrigeration, and it was getting stalled in transit, and it was going bad. Now that it's autumn, late autumn, it's getting to the point where it's cold enough that it's keeping it cold even when the refrigeration runs out of those lorries. So, you know, I think that is why lately I've been able to find a couple safe havens, so to speak, carnivore havens, where it is something that maybe is not perfect, but 50 to 65%, maybe 70% if you're really lucky, that is edible and safe to eat. That's not going to be rancid, that's not going to actually give you a bellyache, but it's actually safe to eat. Fresh, not just jerky, but fresh. Now, I went about an entire year where 90% of my diet was very small rations of jerky. Every once in a while, you know, I get lucky and I get a steak that was fresh, or I would have to butcher anyway. I'd have to butcher some mean really mean quail or chickens, roosters or something, that, you know, you can't keep them with the flock anyway, because if you did, they would severely injure the rest of the flock. But I live by very strict morals, that, you know, my pagan belief is that I personally can never harm or injure, kill the innocent. So, you know, you can't just go out there and butcher what you want to. You can't raise them up to butcher. You know, you have to wait and see, okay, who's going to be ill intent, who's going to be pure intent, and very few usually are ill intent. So most of them you end up keeping and not butchering. So that wasn't going to be enough. So anyway, my point being is that, you know, yes, I can salvage. It's okay to scavenge, like after something's already dead, like at a butcher shop, because I didn't kill it. That's okay. It's not ideal, but it's okay. You know, I merited that. I'm just not merited to butcher myself anything that's innocent. In a perfect world, you know, I wouldn't eat anything that came from someplace that I knew it was innocent. But you know, moving on. So I'm trying to understand, you know, exactly going forward, kind of what the next step is. And I think that is probably me, you know, further getting back to who and what I really am. I've got to make these chakras completely balanced before I can do a full 100% physical shift. So, you know, mending the chakras is going to be my first thing. The second thing is going to be, you know, trying to do partial shifts, but maybe not full shift. I have partially shifted physically a couple of times, in that kind of, not the slow metamorphosis way, but in that really rapid way where you can feel muscles, bones, you know, shifting and things. But, you know, you can only do that partially when your chakras are imbalanced, if even at all. And so really there's no point in trying to physically shift like that again until I've got my chakras balanced. So right now I think you know, I was told that at least for the winter time, at least for the time being, I've got a little bit of time, you know, where there's an ideal window of opportunity to do this and to mend and to work on shifting. But I'm told that, you know, really, this is what I've been told in the past. In the past I've been told another year, another spring or summer, it's going to be difficult, it's going to be not ideal, but it's doable. And that's not what I'm being told this time. What I'm being told this time is, if you spend another spring and summer as a human, you have to, ideally you need to be the Ridgerson full time by, you know, before spring gets on the way. So basically, like, this is the last year that I have. Something is going to happen. Every year it gets more and more difficult to stay human. And it's not just inconveniences like having to ration food. I've got a very abusive family and I'm not free of them. You know, they're still here. They still know where I am. They're still actively trying to hurt me. You know, I can't leave the house, you know, without taking measures to do protection magic. it's just, it's something that I know is eventually it's going to catch up to me. Eventually, if I stay here too long, you know, I may be able to find enough resources. That's one thing. But if I stay here too long, they're going to eventually come after me. And it's not just my family. It's people that are the same, have the same ideology as them. They belong to a religious Abrahamic cult. And, you know, me being pagan and me being somebody who has, that they have witnessed to survive things that should not have been survivable. I've been shot at, I've been poisoned, I've been gassed, I've been buried alive, with immense luck that somebody found me in time, you know, and all of those things, a lot of them was luck, but a lot of them I shouldn't be here, I should have died from. And, you know, to them that's the sign of the devil, because it's a sign of magic. And you know, knowing that there's an entire gigantic group of these people, and they've got a list, they've got a bounty list, and, you know, I don't know how many people are on it. And there's gay people on that list, there's people of minority ethnicity on that list, you know, there's all sorts of people on that list, and people of religion that is not belonging to their faith is on that list. And eventually I've been told by my spirit guardians that there's this window of opportunity, and once that fades, you know, eventually they're going to try a different tactic. They're going to realize that, you know, they're going to realize that this is taking too long, and they're going to try a different tactic to kill me. So I need to be ready for when that happens. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not at all optimistic. I'm scared as fuck that I'm gonna fail, you know, that I'm not gonna do this in time. And I've worked too hard, and there's too many of my guardians that have worked too hard to just, and totems even, that have just helped me too much. It wouldn't just be me failing, it would be an immense spit in the face to them if I failed, because all of this would have been for nothing, you know. That is my escape, that's my freedom, that's my purpose also, my life's purpose. That's what I'm meant to do, that's what I'm meant to be. It's a task I'm given. I'm not just, if I actually succeed in this, I'm not just going to be able to like live my life in bliss and peace. No, I have to have a task that I'm given. I'm meant to actually go out there and hunt the evil things, you know, that is my task. And I don't like talking about it much because I don't think people completely understand, but that is what I'm meant to do, and I can't do it as human. I can't. So, you know, despite everyone around me, basically even other pagans telling me it's not possible, I've seen proof, I've felt proof, I've witnessed proof, even when I don't want to, even when I'm in denial, I'm forced to see, you know, and that was one example with the diet, that I was forced to see that this stuff really is happening. But that doesn't mean, just because I know that I can, that I have potential, doesn't mean that that raises my confidence in it. I still have to learn this, and right now I feel so not ready. It really is scaring me.